The English managed to subvert the Western genre in a way that has seldom been seen before, and some of it, like Melmont store, feels so real that many viewers wonder if it exists in real life. This miniseries, from Amazon Prime Video and BBC One, centers on a British woman, Lady Cornelia Locke, Emily Blunt, who teams up with a Native American ex-Pawnee scout, Eli Cash Spencer, to avenge her dead son in the American Wild West. The series is a love letter to the Western films made popular in the 1940s and 1950s, but adds many new elements. If there's one thing that the English makes clear, it's that the 1800s Wild West was a difficult time and place for many people. Women and Native Americans, who serve as the series' protagonists, endure hardships but also experience a captivating love story that many Western films never depicted on screen. The English never shies away from depicting both the beauty and the sorrow found beneath the endless Western skies. But as realistic as it is it based on a true story? What happens in the English ending? All the tension comes to a head. Emily Blunt and a male actor with their hands on their hips in the English. After 5 episodes of tension, the English comes to an end in episode 6. Cornelia is diagnosed with syphilis, which she contracted from David Melmont, who had previously sexually assaulted her. Earlier in the series it is revealed that Cornelia's son died at the age of 14 from complications of the disease. In the final episode, Cornelia, alongside her lover, Eli, who is an ex-Pawnee scout, finally tracks down Melmont. She finds that Melmont is also suffering from syphilis, and she realizes that she can't kill him. To Cornelia, Melmont represents the only part of her dead son that's still alive, so she can't bring herself to kill him. But a woman named Martha Myers attacks Melmont, who also sexually assaulted her in the past. Eventually, Eli stabs him to death, but the story doesn't quite end there. Sheriff Marshall knows he has to arrest Eli and Cornelia for their roles in Melmont's killing. However, he decides to set them free if they agree to go their separate ways. Eli chooses to go to Nebraska and try to claim some of his native land back. Cornelia travels back to England, where, 13 years after the final showdown, she is succumbing to her syphilis. She wears a veil over her head to hide the symptoms of the disease. While in England, Cornelia watches a traveling circus that reenacts stories of the Wild West, including her story with Eli. While watching the play, she finds her old friend, White Moon, is playing Eli. The two reunite with a tender kiss as White Moon removes Cornelia's veil. Then the show cuts to the present day, in a parking lot where Melmont General Store is standing on the graves of countless murdered Cheyenne. Is Melmont store real? It doesn't exist in real life but serves as a metaphor. The English still have Melmont storefront in the Wild West. The short answer is no, Melmont is not real. But it is symbolic and reflects how America was taken from various native tribes so that people like Melmont could build property on their rightful land. It's worth noting that the English is not based on true events, but elements of the story piece are based upon fact. The English chronicles the Sand Creek Massacre, which actually happened in 1864 and killed many Native Americans. Other aspects of the English are also based on real historical organizations, like Eli being an ex-Pawnee scout, but Eli himself likely never existed. The English is not based on a true story, but draws from history. Creator Hugo Blick consulted with members of Pawnee and Cheyenne tribes. A male character protecting Emily Blunt with a dead body behind them in a field in the English. Hugo Blick wrote and directed the 6-episode series due to a lifelong obsession with the Wild West. He was born and raised in the UK, but at the age of 18 in the early 80s, he shipped off to Montana to learn about the American Wild West. With the help of a former US Air Force captain, he learned how to hunt under wild Montana skies. His interest in the Wild West and his time spent in Montana eventually inspired him to make The English, via The Guardian. Additionally, Eli was based on one of Blick's Native American friends he met while living in Montana. Blick based a lot of Cornelia and Eli's relationship on that specific friendship. Hugh was also concerned with creating an accurate depiction of Native American tribes in the series, and thus sent off his first draft to representatives of the Cheyenne and Pawnee tribes, who had one note: they insisted that Eli not be killed off. The tribal representatives claimed that the Indian always dies before the end of Westerns. Blick took their note to heart, as Eli doesn't die in the series. The English pays homage to the Western genre. It also subverts Westerns by making its protagonists a woman and a person of color. The English is unique in that it never forgets that it is a subversion of the Western genre. The two main characters are a woman and a person of color, two demographics that seldom take center stage in stories of the Wild West. The story also makes both Cornelia and Eli individuals, not stereotypes. When Cornelia first arrives in Kansas, she is wearing an ornate pink dress and directly speaks about not wanting to be raped, again, likely not a sentiment that women in the 1800s would have expressed.